you would generally think you got to think more like genetically, like something that got released into the wild 300 million years ago, and the DNA is the same. That's what you're trying to do with a crypto asset network. You're trying to release a protocol and not change it, and so I think that it's one more point I'll make here, which is from an institutional investor's point of view, the point at which you consider trusting a crypto network is somewhere in the range of 5 to 10 years after people stopped changing it. I mean, I would say it's after if there's a hard fork to fix a fatal bug, maybe that's okay. If you're fixing a fatal bug, or if you're improving the network against a fatal security threat, right? Then maybe you can get past that. But if you're hard forking to change the functionality or change the performance, change the block size, anything like that where you're changing it, it resets the Lindy clock, and you have to wait for 5 to 10 years. After 5 years, it's risky. I mean, I can't say that. It looks pretty centralized to me. Like there's probably something. I'm not going to give you an opinion on all of them, except they all are securities, right? I mean, I'll give you that opinion. There might be something out of there's 20,400 cryptos or 20,000 cryptos. There might be a half dozen that we can debate whether they're commodity, but none of the proof of stake networks and none of the smart contract networks would be in it. You'd be having a debate over proof of work networks, right? That have not changed in the past 5 years, right? That don't have an issuer, don't have a management team, don't have a foundation, if you didn't have a pre-mine, if there's no ICO, if there's no foundation, if no one's controlling it, if it's not changing, right, then you can have a debate. But I don't think that Ethereum qualifies for that debate. I think that's pretty black and white. The question then becomes, okay, I think that my crypto is a commodity. How do I get it certified? Okay, there's no clear process. So if there was a process by which I could submit it to the CFTC or the SEC and get them to certify that it is not a security, that would be a step forward. I think the other step forward would be a process by which I could submit a stable coin to get it certified as a stable coin. Like there's a way you can get registered as an ETF right now with the SEC, right? They deny or they grant. They've granted some ETFs. They've denied some ETFs, but there's a process. There's a process by which you can sell mutual funds and other investment funds to the general public. They can grant, but they can deny. So I don't see the process by which I can spin up a stable coin. And as you look at it, right, there's stable coins like Circle and Paxos, and they're registered entities in the United States, and they claim to be 100% backed by cash and cash equivalents. So that's one type of stable coin, but the SEC is not certifying them. The CFTC is not certifying them. There's no national certification. They're an $18 billion of a stable coin. Now, issuing $18 billion worth of a stable coin is like borrowing $18 billion from counterparties. So if you borrowed $18 billion from counterparties and you had $1 billion in collateral, you're levered up 18 to 1. Okay. On the other hand, if you borrowed it at 50% loan to value, then that means you have 36 billion in collateral. So you see the difference between having 36 billion in collateral, which is, by the way, 50% loan to value is risky. 25% loan to value, probably less risky for a volatile market. So in order to issue 18 billion in stablecoin and use Bitcoin as collateral, then the right mix would be, I have $72 billion worth of Bitcoin, and I issued $18 billion worth of UST. Okay, and that's over collateralized, but still risky. So it's pretty clear UST was never a stable coin. It was a security. and there's no path, there's no obvious path to get the right license. But you can imagine if I was running an ETF and I said, I'm running a high-tech ETF and I'm going to buy a mixture of Facebook, Apple, and Amazon and trade it, and you were going to buy my ETF. Well, I would then post on a routine basis, like every day or whenever I change my portfolio, I post what I own in the ETF. That's complete transparency. And if we can do that with an ETF, the question is, why can't we do it with another crypto? Like, why wouldn't you just say, okay, Tether, if you want to be certified, you just have to post everything online via this form, an 8K form. When MicroStrategy, when we buy Bitcoin, we file an 8K. It's an SEC filing. And if you go read it, right, there are very, very talented lawyers that very carefully write those 8Ks, and then they file them with the SEC, and they're online and they're legal documents. And the management team is legally liable for a lie, right? We're legally liable, the CFO. And so in this particular case, you've got a Wild West. And what needs to happen is it needs to grow up. Now, we need adult supervision. Now, let me just grant one more thing in favor of the cryptos, which is there's a tension between the 20th century and the 21st century. The 20th century is NASDAQ. You start trading at 9:30 in the morning. You end at 4 in the afternoon. You can't trade on the weekends, right? You can't take personal custody. That's how MicroStrategy stock trades. MSTR started trading in 1998. And there has been no material improvement in the way that stock works on the NASDAQ in 24 years. Okay, so that seems kind of antiquated. And the crypto world is why can't I take custody? Why aren't there 500 exchanges instead of one NASDAQ? Or why can't I trade 24/7, 365? Why can't I do things faster? So the crypto world wants to go fast, and it wants sexy stuff, and it wants to do it in the palm of your hand, and it wants to do it everywhere in the world. And right now, for better or for worse, it's the United States regulators, the SEC, the CFTC, the OCC. They have the control of this, and the rest of the world's going to follow them, right? And probably going to adopt their broad brush guidelines once they figure out what they want to do. And the industry is kind of in betwixt and in between. We're out of the first decade, which is a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, a lot of, Mark Zuckerberg used to have on the wall of Facebook's headquarters before they went public. It's like, go fast and break things. Okay. That was the Facebook motto, go fast and break things. After they got public and after they became a billion user network and they had the power to change the course of democracies, I think they got rid of that motto, right? That, at some point you can't go fast and break things anymore. So